Alrighty, guys, what's up? Welcome to the first episode of The Music Room. I'm your host, Josiah, and with me, I'm probably, sorry, you guys are probably wondering who the other host is. So, if you'll introduce yourself, please.
Hello, my name is Dylan, and I am the other host.
Yes, that's, yeah, um, that's true. It's very true. Um, so, basically, I'm gonna go over this, what the podcast is gonna be about with you guys. So if you read my bio for the podcast on Anchor, it says that we just talk about music. This is all it's about. It's just gonna be music, ranging from DCI all the way to orchestra, anything. Like it's gonna be awesome. I hope you guys are gonna enjoy this, enjoy the episode, enjoy the rest of them, and all that other cool stuff. So, what we have planned for you today? Actually, a couple of things. So the first thing is the impact that COVID has had on the marching arts. So Dylan, if you could, maybe put your opinion out.
For sure, with COVID, it has affected pretty much everything within the world, whether that be school or work, or I would just go about our normal lives. And marching arts was not safe from that. It got affected pretty hard. Mid-season during last winter for WGI, they canceled their seasons, and most local circuits also canceled their seasons. And according with or following with the line, DCI also canceled their season, and yeah, and so now that we're in the fall season, depending on what state you live in, it's different for everyone. I know in my state, North Carolina, pretty much everything's shut down. I don't know a single school within my district that is having a season or a competitive season at least. Some bands are still playing at football games. Some bands are even going to competitions, but it has certainly affected the marching arts heavily. And there's a lot of debate on whether or not DCI is going to have a season next year or if WGI is going to be continuing their season this upcoming November, December. So, yeah. What are your thoughts?
So, uh, that actually sucks that in North Carolina, nothing is going on. That really sucks because down here in South Carolina, some of the bands, we actually still have, uh, we still have a fall season depending on where the district is and everything, but a lot of them, all competitions are shut down where I am. Yeah, all the competitions are shut down, but some bands are still doing something so that they don't have two classes, as in two grades, that don't know how to march, how to do this, like the freshmen who will be sophomores next year, plus the next freshman. So that would really put a toll on bands and the development of all that. Um, but like with my high school, we're still having we still have a show. It's not our competitive show, but we're playing John Williams music, which is really fun. Um, but yeah, with uh, with DCI and WGI, it'll be interesting to see what's gonna happen for these upcoming seasons.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. So the thing with me is that I graduated high school last year, so I'm not technically in school currently, which I guess was a smart move considering most campuses are shut down. But the thing I'm very interested in seeing is how not only DCI and WGI are going to do things, but also normal marching bands in high school. I obviously, games will probably be at limited capacity. I know a lot of bands aren't doing actual field shows because for some reason their school district won't allow them to be on the field. But I think what a lot of bands are doing, like you said, are having a kind of like a fun show where it's not based off of getting check marks and scores on a judge's sheet, but more of entertainment. And
Yeah,
I think that's a very good thing. So that way you can introduce to all the kids that are coming up, saying, "Hey, we have this cool thing called marching band." Now this isn't usually how we do it, but we want to make sure y'all still get an experience from it and be able to learn for the next upcoming seasons.
definitely.
Yeah, and the big thing I'm really wanting to see is how in the future, because everything's going to have to go back to normal at some point.
Yeah,
When that happens, no one knows. But I want to see how they handle competitions because I have a few ideas on how it's possible to do it. The real big thing a lot of people say, or and that I've seen them say, is why can't we just have competitions where there's no audience and we have judges and we have the performance? The big thing with that is that there's a lot of bands that have big numbers, and even though there's no quote unquote audience there, it's still a large group of people. And I think just to be on the safe side, a lot of school districts aren't going to allow band competitions, especially this year and possibly going into the next year. But I'm hoping to see that they overcome this challenge and that hopefully they can figure out a way to keep everyone safe and still
yeah,
have a return to competitions.
definitely. I mean, it's going to be interesting just to see what happens. Like, no matter what happens, it's definitely going to be different from last year. I mean, no matter what. It's not like it's just going to magically go away. So, it'll be interesting, but I know that it will be fun for everyone because we'll be back to a somewhat normal school year, I guess.
Yeah. So I actually have a question about South Carolina. So I know a couple of school districts are doing this thing where they have sort of an A-day, B-day schedule where one day you'll go to school and you'll go to your classes, and then the next day you'll, do online school. I'm curious on how that's been so far and if that's affected, your band classes in any way.
Yeah, so it's interesting where I am because we have these things called cohorts, and we have cohort A and cohort B. Basically, cohort A goes Monday, Tuesday, and cohort B goes Thursday, Friday. And it's really weird because imagine you have your entire band, like ours. We have approximately 140 people in our band. Uh, so imagine the band split up because of the cohort days, split up because of classes, and that leaves you with only a couple of people in each class. Like in our percussion class, it's only me and one other guy.
Yeah.
So it's definitely sort of good because we can get more in depth into the music and not have to worry about like 10 other people having questions, which I mean, that's sort of a positive side to it. But yeah, it's definitely affected the actual marching band program because normally we would have after school rehearsals every day from like 5 to 9. And so now we had to get approval from our district to even have band rehearsals, which that kind of sucks.
Oh, yeah, no, for
Uh,
sure.
and it's only a 3 hour rehearsal every afternoon, and then we also have to get permission to have a percussion ensemble too, because it's together. We have a concert percussion ensemble, so it's not any marching or anything. It's
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah.
straight up a front ensemble, basically.
Yeah. Um,
But for concert, it'll be interesting, definitely, because you know,
yeah, for sure. I know, because I have a lot of friends that still go to the high school I graduated to, or graduated from, which is Olympic. And from what I've heard is that the numbers have for sure dwindled, like drastically. A big part of that is because pretty much everybody in the Charlotte Mecklenburg school system, they're all online. There's no like switching between A-day and B-day
yeah,
or having a set schedule of when you go certain days. It's all online, and it's very hard to have band online. So I think there's in the class there would typically be about 30, 40 students for our wind ensemble,
Yeah,
and now it is down to 6. And I mean, it sucks because like I one of my favorite parts, funny enough, is actually the wind ensemble because they get all the really cool orchestra pieces, and we actually get challenged. But unfortunately, due to everything being online, I don't know exactly how they're turning lemons into lemonade. But I mean,
yeah,
hopefully, once everything comes back together, all the band programs, not even at my school, but all across the country, hopefully rebound, because I know it's been for sure a tough time dealing with this.
definitely. Um, yeah, and I mean, I'm a freshman this year, so
Yeah,
I think it's kind of hard on the freshmen. Well, it's hard on everyone, but especially the freshmen and seniors, because the seniors they've been going through high school band for 3 years, and they've been so excited to perform their last show, really have that one last time for their senior year. Uh, and they don't get to have that, which it really sucks. And for the freshmen, it's not as bad, but next year for the freshmen, it'll be a way different because they'll have to switch once again to a different kind of style, I guess. Um,
yeah,
and yeah,
yeah, for sure. And I think another big thing with that is talking about whether or not WGI is gonna have a 2021 season. So for everyone that doesn't know what WGI is, or even DCI, I guess it'd be better to start with DCI. Basically, DCI is kind of like the NFL of the marching band what happens usually starting in the winter, they will hold auditions for people to get spots. Each corps is made up of 3 main groups, and then they all split into their own sections. But it's mainly brass, percussion, and color guard. And what they
mm-hmm.
do for about a month and a half is they learn a about 12 to 15 minute show um, full of just the most insane music you could imagine, and obviously learning drill and visuals and all of that. And then the second part of it is the tour where they go across the country and they um they perform the show for judges and an audience, and they get rated based on how they perform. And
Yeah,
then all coming within the second weekend in August is the DCR World Championships, and that is like our Super Bowl for everyone in the marching community because that's where all about 46 world class corps battle it out
mm-hmm.
to earn a top 12 spot in the finals and, obviously win first place. And so their season has been canceled this summer, and it was very unfortunate because I was looking very forward to going back to World Championships because I know quite a bit of people who perform in these corps, and it's great watching them, give it their all for their final show. But what WGI is it's still a international circuit for the marching arts, but it's in the winter. So basically, the way it works is that there is a tarp that is specially designed with an image that relates to the show theme. And depending on what section of WGI you're in, you will perform a show. The 3 sections for that is indoor percussion, indoor winter guard, or indoor winds. So with indoor winds, unlike DCI, is a very small group of people, about 30 to 40 people. That's if you're including a front ensemble. And you can have brass and woodwinds. But there's usually no drum line, but it is allowed. Indoor drum line is only drum line, which, unlike DCI, or at least for most of DCI, there is a cymbal line. So there's usually cymbals, tenors, basses, and snare drummers, and then you have the front ensemble. And with Winter Guard, it's basically just a color guard indoor, but they perform to a pre-recorded song. And so what a lot of people are wondering is if WGI is going to have a 2021 season. So
Yeah.
last year, Josiah and I were in a independent group called Civitas, which was an indoor drumline. And midway through the season, it got canceled due to COVID finally coming to the U.S. And our local circuit also canceled, following suit. So the question is, are we going to be able to work out something to where it's possible to have a 2021 season? I have a couple of thoughts on how it could go, but just I want to hear what you think is going to happen.
Yeah, so honestly, it really depends on whether or not they're gonna do this whole vaccine thing or not. I don't want to get into politics or anything into this at all. Uh, that's not what the podcast was about. But I think it honestly depends on that because so many things are being determined over it. Like some school districts have shut down because there is no vaccine, but some might open up because of it. But with WJI, even if it's not based on that, I really hope that there is a season. Maybe one of the ways, I don't know, possibly like drill. I don't know if this would be possible, but drill for the drumline that is like 5 to 6 feet apart. That would be very interesting. But it could be something like that, or it could be something like Equinox Percussion did. They all had masks on during their show. Like it was part of their costume, which I think it was cool.
Yeah.
No matter what, I still really hope that there's at least something like like the virtual drum corps that just happened. That was because DCI got canceled. So maybe there could be possibly a virtual indoor drum line, virtual indoor winds, virtual indoor color
Yeah,
guard.
for sure. That would be awesome.
I think that would be awesome, personally.
Yeah. We can go into virtual drum corps in a second because I know you did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that could be possible, and I think that virtual marching arts will continue their streak of doing virtual ensembles like they did with drum corps, and now they're doing marching band since it's the fall. So
Yeah.
I've been talking to a couple of people that have groups and that are in groups, and there's a couple of solutions that WGR are still considering. So one of the big things that might happen is a decent chance of it happening, but I don't want to say most likely, is that you will send in a video of your ensemble performing, and then you will get judged based on that video. Now, as unfortunate as it, I don't necessarily want it, and I'm not sure how much it would work because I don't think that performers are willing to spend $1,000 as you would usually during the indoor phase to
Yeah.
perform for a video. The main,
Yeah.
the bulk of that cost is to go to world championships, and I don't think even if WGI goes with that, I don't think groups are still going to charge $1,000 based on the fact that there won't be an in-person world championships. But although videos are good and you still get to perform drill and do the show, it's a different atmosphere because it's like doing a rehearsal run.
Yeah.
Because you can't feed off of the energy of the crowd, and the whole vibe of it is just different. Obviously, another option is that they don't have a season, which obviously we're praying that it does.
Yeah.
And then another option they're looking at is possibly doing limited capacity seating, which I find interesting, and that would be the most welcomed option between groups. But the big thing that people aren't highlighting about COVID, and again, this isn't about politics, this is purely science, that COVID dies within sunlight, but the biggest spreaders of COVID are indoor spaces, and
Yeah.
obviously that's a big thing because WGI is indoors. But whatever they end up doing, I hope it's a good compromise where all the groups are happy with it and people are still able to do the activity they love. Because although canceling seasons are easy, it doesn't help the performers in it because although people are going to be practicing, it's going to be hard within a group setting to, get your chops up and be able to blend in with an ensemble and such. But
Yeah.
whatever they do, hopefully it works out. So I want to talk about Virtual Drum Corps for a second because you were in their front ensemble for open class.
Yes.
So tell me what was it like? How was it?
Man, well, first off, just so everyone knows, we're not sponsored by Virtual Arts or
No,
anything, so putting that out there. But man, Virtual Drum and Bugle Corps, that was a wild experience, man. Uh, so basically, the way that it worked was, it started off as an Indiegogo little thing, and you just sent in $10. They didn't think it was gonna go anywhere at all. But then I was like the 25th donor to it, so I was one of the first people. I think that's cool. Um, but then out of nowhere, it just exploded, and it ended up with I think like 2,000 plus people in it.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy. But the way that it works is they'll send you an audition packet. You learn your part, and then you send it in. Then about a week or two later, they'll send you an email with your part placement, and it's either A class, open class, or world class. And that kind of goes along with like the DCI and WGI kind of stuff. And with every type of music, it's like a different challenge level, sort of. So since I was an open class, it definitely challenged me, which I mean, that's awesome. Um, with open classes, it's of course in the middle of A and world class. So I mean, it had lots of fast stuff, but I mean, it was still easy to some extent. But like with the world class people, they have the hard stuff and the really the meat of it all, basically. A class, honestly, the way that they did it with the front ensemble, I think I actually enjoyed A class a lot because they were basically like the base, sort of the ensemble. Uh, what I mean by that is if you have a band and there's no bass guitar or anything to it, like you can't really follow anything because like a bass guitar is basically the backbone of that band. And so the way they wrote it was A class was the bass. I really enjoyed that. But then, so with Virtual Drum Bugle Corps, for sending in the videos, they give you the music, then like a couple weeks later, they send you the click track to it. And you have to like put a pair of headphones in your ear, and then they give you really specific recording instructions for it all, um, and everything like that. And then you send it in, and I don't know how they did it, but they got amazing audio and video from it. It was crazy. To anyone who watched it, you know what I mean. It was it was wild, but definitely sign up for the virtual marching band if you haven't. There's probably once this is out, it's probably past registration time or something. I don't know, but yeah, it was wild. So any other virtual thing they do, I would definitely recommend signing up, even if you still have a season. Like it's such an awesome experience. So yeah, that's about all I have to say for it.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely remember watching it, and it was for sure awesome. Like, and I think this is a really good thing to come at a really specific time because everyone was bummed that all of our seasons are canceled and we can't do anything. And then this comes along, and it really showed the unity of the community because a lot of people came together for this project. You know, music arrangers, video editors, whoever edited the video, and I don't have their name right on the top of my head, but he didn't, or even the video editing team, because I mean I don't see how it's possible for one man to edit all those videos, but they
Yeah,
for sure did an awesome job of featuring everyone, and it was
definitely.
awesome to see Joseph Noah especially make his own song and have it featured in the show, because I know he was a big part of Carolina Crown and GMU. So yeah, that was awesome. If you haven't seen the video, definitely go check it out. Just look up Virtual Drone Google Corps on YouTube. You'll find the video. And if you haven't signed up for Virtual Marching Band, please do. It's definitely going to be worth it. And they'll give you music that'll for sure challenge you.
Oh yeah.
So I think a good thing we should discuss now is plans for this podcast. So if you want to go ahead and do that, you can.
Plans for the podcast. So basically what I would like to do with the podcast is honestly, I don't think I want it like for the money or for the fame or anything. I kind of want it just to talk about music, and for people to, maybe if you don't like music, to learn about it, and to learn about the different kinds and the different cultures and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I just like to talk about music. It's a big reason that I started the podcast. Well, me and Dylan did. Um, I would like it to go somewhere pretty far. But that's in the way future. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
And we are planning to have guests on very, very soon. Probably even the next episode. We're still sorting out our schedule to have them on, but we'll definitely have a variety of people on this show to discuss music and everything that it has to do with it. So
Yes.
Look out for that. And just keep on the lookout for the next episode, because the next couple of guests we're gonna have are for sure interesting people, and they'll definitely have something to bring the perspective of the marching community. So yeah.
So I think I'll end the podcast right here, because it was really I enjoyed it. Thank you, Dylan, for being the second host.
Of course, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man. So I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and that you have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
You're welcome, man. Peace out, guys.